Good evening, everybody. I want to welcome you guys today to igboshrine.com. Okay, don't mind me, I'm just feeling funky today. I don't know, I'm feeling funky on my styling today. But I just want to welcome every single one of you to my channel. And if you're new to this channel, please click on that notification button and subscribe. Ịghọtago? Maka anyị bụ ụmụ Igbo, anyị na-ekwu ife dị n'ọdịnala Igbo. Because if we don't talk about it, who will? Ndị ọcha ma mma na-akọla ya otu nne na nna ha si wee bi ndụ wee ka nka. So it's going to be our job, it's going to be our duty to broadcast, to share, and to spread oziọma ọdịnala. So I want to welcome you guys today. Tata ụbọchị afọ asịnkwa afọ tata amala anyị mma. Afọ malụ nwoke mmụọ, malụ nwaanyị mmụọ, malụ onye ugwu, malụ onye nta. Ọ na-aghọtago? Ọkwa nne m Asọmpi Chukwu na-ekwuzikwa n'okwu. Mgbe afọ, ọkwa ntata ka amụọ, mbọsị afọ ka amụọ, mabụ m nwa afọ. So I want to welcome you guys once again, and I would like you to share this video, turn on the notification button, don't forget to comment, and if you have any video specification, make sure you tell me about it, and I'm going to work on it. If it's a subject or a topic that I'm conversant about, then I'm going to just go ahead and just make a video and talk to all of us about it. But if it's something I don't know about, then I'll have to research about it. So guys, let's get into the proper video. Let's get into the video proper, because we're going to be talking about Ekwuensu, the devil in Igbo Spirituality and Cosmology. We don't really have the devil, it's the white man that came and saw our culture, saw our cosmology, tried to create a balance of good and evil, and now gave us this concept of the devil, which is basically domiciled in their own religion, but it's very, very different from our own. So guys, so I want us to just go ahead and talk about this concept of Ekwuensu, which has been a very huge problem and a misunderstanding, actually. So let's get to the video proper. So I want you to sit tight and enjoy this video. Thank you very much. So guys, I want to welcome you guys once again to this video, and I'll be glad if you're going to stay tuned and don't leave, because this video is going to give you like mad information for you to understand what our ancestors knew or understood as Ekwuensu. Or definitely we now have this misconception about Ekwuensu, making us to think that this concept or this entity, this deity, as its own, it's a rival to God. But in our cosmology, as our culture, rather, or how our ancestors understood this this phenomenon or this entity Ekwuensu is very much different from our European counterpart, how the Christians understand this concept of Ekwuensu. But for today's video, I'm going to start off with a story. I heard about it first in my final year, Sociology and Anthropology UNN. My lecturer my professor HOD then tried to create this kind of, give us this picture of how the missionary literally overtook, they came, saw what we were doing, and tried to, teach us about their own religion. And since it wasn't working for them, they have to, So I'm just going to go into this story properly, and I hope you guys are going to stay and enjoy this video with me. Thank you very much. Now, with Europeanization, or the Europeans basically coming into Africa, Igbo land, they came, and one thing you have to know about us as in the Igbo is our ability to accept people, our ability to cherish people, our ability to, no matter your culture, no matter who you are, we don't want to know. But so far you come to us with good intentions, or so far you don't want to hurt us, you don't want to fight us or anything, we're very accommodating people. So this is our culture. So with time, when these guys came, the early missionaries came to our shores, we opened and accepted them with open arms, and we gave them a place to stay. Some of us will say that they gave them the evil forest to, to build their church, and to kind of establish their own culture. Because we Igbos, actually, we are explorers. So we are used to people coming, and we're used to actually, finding out new things, outsourcing, going there, try to experience new life. We've been a very curious people. We've been very curious about things. We've been very curious about life. You understand? Because if you look at how the Igbo spirituality is structured, you will see that it's a way for us trying to interpret You get? You're trying to interpret or give meaning to the whole concept of God. That's how we say chi ukwu. Then we now try to break it down. We giving we talk about chi, we talk about agu, we talk about Alusi, we talk about agbara, we talk about ndiche. Trying to kind of demystify what chukwu is. So it's a curiosity that would definitely lead us into trying to have this interpretation and that interpretation, and eventually which led to the food that we eat here. It's also that curiosity rather would make our ancestors to bring out this food or test anka. But we keep trying to outstretch. So when the Europeans came to our shores, we accepted them, give them a place to stay, and eventually we had to listen to them, because then they've stayed and they've looked at us with disdain and this superiority complex. They have this idea that our own spirituality is whatever it is to them, but then they feel there is a need for them to introduce us to the Western way of life, the Western religion, and the rest of it. So what did they now do? They first of all came and they started preaching to the elders in the village, trying to get people to abandon their place of worship, abandon their chi, abandon their ancestral altars and the rest of it. But it was not working, because our ancestors had a simple question for them. Now ask them, okay, you said me now, if I die, I will not I'll not see my ancestors, and I'll not reincarnate back. I'll go to one place called heaven. They said, yes, you'll go to heaven. And I said, okay. So now, I know I'm a good person, You now talk about another person in the same community that they know as somebody that is a terrible person. They'll be like, what of Mazi Okeke? If Mazi Okeke dies now, what will happen to Mazi Okeke? Let's say Mazi Okeke will not come to... So if Mazi Okeke accepts Jesus Christ as his and Lord and personal Savior, then he's going to basically just magically come to God is good, they're going to forgive me. And it doesn't make sense to him, because we believe in retributive justice. We believe that whatever you do, you're going to come back to this earth to reap its fruit, whether it's good or bad. Now, after that one aside, and the second part of it is, you're bringing in foreign boys, telling to pray to this person and this person. He's asking you, what about his ancestors? What about his father? So it was not making sense to them. So according to my lecturer, they kind of had a review of strategy. So this now asked them, their superiors now told them, okay, you need to come up with a way to make these people understand what we're trying to do. Okay, then they now started to engage the commoners, engage the people, which is a very, very terrible way to research, because if you want to research a people, you will need to, it needs to come without you having, how do I put it now, your intention towards it. If it is to understand what these people is doing, then you have to be unbiased. But already you're trying to, you have an agenda there, it's just waiting for you there. So when these guys came try to do this, ask the people now, they now told them, now ask them, okay, let them create some sort of a balance, because we believe in duality in Igbo Spirituality and Cosmology. We believe in up and down, good and bad, all these things. So what did they now do? They started by trying to, ask them, okay, which deity or Alusi n'obodo unu yabo? If you have to ask or you need something, isn't a benevolent deity in your place? Then they now called, they now said, ndị be anyị na-ekwukwe na ịchọbụkwa n'iru Chukwu ijekwe na arọ Chukwu winokpabi n'ọkwa n'ebe ahụ ka iru Chukwu nọ. You get, that was how Arọ Chukwu was known for. There's this place, Long Juju, I think, yeah. I think that's the whole thing they're trying to, try to give them and all the rest of it. And I said, okay, so what of the binary equivalent of it? Which deity in our place, in your place now that it's unforgiving, it's troublesome, it's this, is that? Then I said, Ekwuensu and Ogunabani. Like Ekwuensu, the companion is Ogunabani. Now they've created a binary. They now try to tell people that Chukwu Ubinukbabi, then Ekwuensu, it's now the death where if you don't leave all these things you're doing, this is where you're going to end up to. Now, this is a story shared to me by my lecturer. Now, that's it. That's one part of it now. Now, it's probably might not even be true, or probably is what he read or what his mentor taught him or what. But I hope we're able to like pick the story, the morale behind it, and put it to what I'm trying to talk about. In Igbo spirituality and cosmology, there is something that it's very, very peculiar in what we do as a people, and that is, the first thing is, before any Alusi or deity is instituted in our community, it happens for a function. It's there because of a purpose. Ọ bụrụ na ezinụlọ mmadụ now na-achị bubeta Alusi, ha na-achị ime for a particular reason. They're trying to bring it in, or let me say, for instance, now trying to bring in akwali ọmụmụ, and evute for a very particular reason. Now let's talk about the function of Ekwensu in Igbo spirituality and the function of Ekwensu in the European mindset or worldview. But before then, I'm going to tell us how did our ancestors see this entity called Ekwensu. Ekwensu in Igbo spirituality and cosmology is not and will never be the devil. Ekwensu is not an equivalent faction or non-faction or whatever of the devil. Ekwensu is a different thing to us. Now, we should actually be aware by now, if you're following me on my website, my social media accounts, and my programs, you will know by now that central to our cosmology and spirituality is the concept of Chukwu, who we refer to as Chi-Ukwu, the aggregate of all Chis. Now, this is what we know. Now, in our cosmology, Ekwuensu is known as the trickster god. Ekwuensu is known as the god of war, the god of the bargains, and the god of crossroads. But I don't like using the word god, because if we compare the functions in our spirituality, we have Chi-Ukwu, who we could say that is the equivalent to the English word god. Now, Alusi is Alusi, Agbara is Agbara. Because we know that when a concept moves from its original language to another language, it sort of loses its meaning. It's just like when somebody is trying to pray now. Even if you want to pray to a particular or to a certain deity, you wouldn't say, you wouldn't call the deity's name. You'd first of all call Chukwu to come and enter, to come and bless whatever you're trying to do, before you now start trying to reach out to your Izmezu, to your spiritual force that is going to handle all of them, are going to contribute, put hand, and make sure that whatever you're trying to do, it's going to work. So I'm going to say that Ekwuensu now isn't God's rival in Igbo spirituality and cosmology. Ekwuensu is Chukwu's enforcer. When Chukwu says this is meant to be, if Chukwu declares a certain decree, the deity or Agbara that ensures that the will of Chukwu or the mind of Chukwu comes to pass is Ekwensu. So it's now weird when we're looking at the European interpretation of Ekwensu and they're referring to Ekwensu as Chukwu's rival, while to us, Ekwensu ensures and enforces the will of God or the will of Chukwu on both human beings and spirits alike. I hope you guys are trying to draw the difference. Now let's talk about, we're trying to, if you go throughout history in the European mindset or the European worldview, you see horrific images of, the disasters, the chaos that has been created by the devil throughout history. I don't know if any of you are very good movie watchers. If you've watched Lucifer, especially when the part where Chloe found out that the guy is actually the devil. Wow, boom, you get, and she sort of tried to she got confused, was now reading Christian books and all those things, which eventually she just if you don't watch Lucifer, well, make sure you try to watch Lucifer. So let me get back to what I was trying to say here. So when you look at that function, you will see that it's quite different to us. The word Ekwensu, Ikwe, Osu. Ekwensu doesn't happen on its own. You don't have to cause trouble before it would eventually, or before it would actually try to cause a problem or before it would. I think equals when you cause a problem or there is this code that you guys don't want to settle. When you equate sulugi, that's just the word Ekwensu. Now, when it comes to communal wars, each community have a sanctuary dedicated to Ekwensu. In my place in the Navy, we have a sanctuary dedicated to Ekwuensu, which is very much still existing up to now. Then each of these deities that we have actually have an aspect of them that we call Ekwensu. Like we have Edo. In my place, we have Ede Ekwensu, Ogugwe Ekwensu. You understand? Now, you just have to understand these functions. Then Alusi now. If you want to read up on Alusi, you're going to I'm going to drop the link to my website. Then you just have to like do a quick read on what Alusi is. So let's get back to the topic. Now, Ekwensu now, all these deities, each of them have their own function, especially all these precising deities. Like in my place, I have 5 dominating deities: Igwe, Edo, Ezemewi, Eleneri, and Ananeri, the 5 of them. Now, all these places now have an aspect of them that we have Udedo. Now, when you're having problem with your fellow human beings, you just basically come to, to Udedo and you talk about, all these kind of things now. Now, we have Oshimiredo. We have Ndichiedo. So, all this aspect of them. When you talk about Ekwensu, you should now kind of have an overview of where I'm heading to. The aspect of her that if you want her, who are you? If there is problem, if there is this, if there is that, you see the agile, the ruthless aspect of her. That's what I'm trying to get here. Ekwensu. So every community have this aspect of Ekwensu, which they bring together, which serves a particular purpose to them or to us as in the Igbo. Now, it's an erroneous information, or not really an information though. It's fallacy, and it's a lie. It's a terrible lie for these people that have no idea about who we are to tell us who we are. And as Igbos, we continuously let them tell us who we are. So my people, it's now high time that we all start trying to understand these concepts. To understand that Ekwensu, Ikweye Osugi, when you allow it, it would ferment trouble for you. Now, another aspect of Ekwensu is Obunabani. I mentioned it earlier. Obunabani, by the name Obunabani, is literally, let me just use the word, the angel of death. When you guys are having this ruckus, this problem, maybe you guys basically use Ekwensu to swear for businessmen and women. You guys use Ekwensu to swear, or there is this agreement, anchored with or let me say sanctified with Ekwensu. Ekwensu were like Wenwi and the rest of it. No. And when we say problem, just be that no one way or another, you guys are having issues, and or one person named Ojoro or Baleba. The aspect of Ekwensu now that basically make sure that you guys are going to keep, this is what you guys talked about, this is an agreement, an aspect of Ekwensu that would make sure that you people are going to keep to this agreement is Obunabani. By the word Obunabani, it would literally kill you. Now, I get people fear this concept. So we talk about Alusi, Alusi. I also have a write-up on it. So if you're okay with it, you can basically just check. I'm going to drop the link so you guys will just, go to my website and have a thing or two around. So an aspect of people, when people talk about these things, the fear that people just have about it, probably because of the blood sacrifices, not human blood sacrifices, please, not the human blood sacrifice aspect of it too. The sacrificing of chicken, cow, goat, and the rest of it. But apart from that, when we talk about these deities, there is this fear that comes with people because they think these things, they are unforgiving. No matter, you just don't, like they'll tell you in the Christian doctrine, if you do something or you do that thing, just ask God, you'll be forgiven and the rest of it. But in our cosmology, it's not like that. You'd have to go through a certain process of atoning and purification. So all those things were instituted to basically preserve our life, or to make us better human beings. So guys, I can talk and talk, but I don't want this video to get very long. So I would like every single one of us to just do me one tiny favor. Read more, research more on Ekwuensu in Igbo Spirituality and Cosmology. There are a lot of information out there. My blog is one of it, so you can just check it out, www.igboshrine.com. My blog is one of it. You can basically go there and understand. And let's stop being chickens and stop fearing. I believe that when we demystify these concepts in simpler ways, it's going to eliminate fear. And once fear is gone, people will begin to understand. So guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and for what is what, I hope this small information, it's not much, but I hope this small information I hope this small information that I just said here, I hope it goes a long way for for every single one of us, especially if you were a beginner and you're having problems on how to understand or fear. You can always reach out to me. I always try to create time for beginners, not beginners, to try to help them in one thing or the other. So guys, this is it for me, and until next time, asim kachiko kike gozie onye obuna yota kachimu na ndị ichie na ndị bụ na ndị egede. Ka Chukwu gọzie onye ọbụla, gọzikwe n'ala Igbo, maka Igbo ga-adịrịrị. Ya gazikwe n'ụlọ. Daalụ. Igbo bụ Igbo. Daalụ. Thank you.